It's time for Monday Soul Deliciousness. So if you have not joined my gig before, what this is we just get together at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Mondays, and we just do something that really gives us a little boost. I like to do things that you can resonate off of with right away, and oftentimes I really try to get in tune with what you actually need to hear. And so I like to call this, it's kind of like a grab bag or a potpourri of stuff, because as you guys need to hear specific things, sometimes we do a little off kilter as far as sticking to one topic. So here we go. If you haven't been here before, my name's Amy Elizabeth Jorgensen, and I love to just motivate and help other people. Having been in a really dark space before, um, it's my purpose and my passion to help you be able to find your joy again, because I've been there. Like, I've been in that space where you're just like, I'm never going to get out of here. I call it falling down the rabbit hole. And throughout your life, you basically fall down the rabbit hole, sometimes just a bit so you can climb back out. Sometimes it's a little further. And then there are those moments where you fall so far down the rabbit hole, you're certain you can never get out again. And it relates back to Alice in Wonderland for me, right? When she gets all the way into the rabbit hole, she has to go through this journey to get back out again. And so um, that's why I'm here, is to help you with that. So first of all, I need you to do something, because one of you really needs to do this, but you'll all benefit from it. So I want you just to take a second, and I'm going to talk you through this, but I want you to think of something that is bothering you in the past. And then I want you to think about this, something that's bothering you ahead of yourself, because one of you is really pulling apart. You're so freaked out about something in your past, and you're so worried about something in your future. It's unraveling you. And so I'm going to show you, there's a fly in here. I'm going to show you how to bring that back to center. So is what I want you to do is just close your eyes for a minute, take a really deep cleansing breath in through your nose, and let it go out through your mouth. You can even do it backwards if that resonates with you more. It doesn't matter. You'll find that when you're really doing work for yourself, there is no right or wrong. So sometimes I was in fact doing something the other day, where I was listening to another practitioner talk about how they do this meditative thing, and they were bringing in some energy from their spine area and pulling it all the way up, and then sending it out through their crown chakra, through their head. And I kept trying to do it, and I was like, man, mine isn't going that far. I need to I was releasing it out as I was breathing. That's the beauty of it, is you resonate with what works for you, and you don't try to make it happen just the way someone else does it, because that's where you really get into understanding yourself on an energy level. We're all completely uniquely different. So things don't always work the same, because your intuitive center and all of this beautiful energy that you have flowing within you comes from your ability to envision, imagine, if you will, how it resonates with you. And so trying to fit yourself into like, oh, it has to be this way, you'll just frustrate yourself. So I don't meditate traditionally. And in fact, sometimes I meditate a little bit different. Sometimes I'm laying down, sometimes I'm sitting. But anyway, I just want you to think about whatever it is that's pulling you to the past. And then I want you to close your eyes and just take that cleansing breath. And I want you just to imagine and breathe in. And I want you to imagine bringing that light. So whatever color that light is, I want you to envision that it's off here. And I want you to bring that light into yourself through breathing. And then I want you to do the same thing. Think about something that's pulling you in the future. And I want you just to bring yourself back to center and just breathe. And so you're basically envisioning these two cords of light, or whatever works for you. And I want you just to pull them back into your center space. And I like things that swirl. So, imagine. So I just like to bring it back to center. You'll see me do lots of stuff with my hands, because my hands are very much my energy source. You'll see me do this. So bring it back to center, okay? And then just breathe it out, send it out through your feet, down through your feet, into the ground. If you want, you can go outside, send it back. You can send it back to divine source, back to Mother Earth, whatever resonates for you. Just allow it to dissipate, okay? And just bring yourself back. Okay, so that's the first one. Second one, somebody really needs to hear. So we have energy cords with people, and we connect with them everybody, you know, you feel this. You have connections with certain people. When that connection gets broken, sometimes, especially if it's one-sided, it's very, very energetically imbalancing for you. And so I'm going to tell you this because somebody also needs to hear this, because people say, Amy, how do I get rid of these energy cords? Like, that open-ended energy cord is a life-sucking ickiness mess. Okay. So think to yourself, and this is why I titled this, you don't talk to yourself enough, because your subconscious knows. You get your cognitive mind out of the way. Why am I connected to this person still? So I'm going to give you an example. I'm a fixer. I am a professional enabler for those that are around me. I get used like nobody's business because I'm a fixer, and I'm an enabler because I'm a goer, and I'm solution driven. So people get into this really comfy space where they sit back and they're like, I don't have to do anything, because if I just allow Amy to, she'll fix things for me. Hello, Jan. You tried to find me earlier. It was probably not quite the right time yet. Love you, lady. So I have empathy cords with people. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up, right? Because this is me. This is my energy. This is who I am. I am very much an enabler, and I am very much a fixer. But in the right present space with the right person, this can be a compatible energy. It's just that when I get around a vampiric person, then they just suck it away, right? So I was like, why can I not get rid of this cord? And then I asked myself, like, what is it that's hanging on there? It's an empathy cord. So cutting the cord of empathy with someone, maybe you are having a cord, it's a relationship cord because that person made you feel safe. And so without them, you feel unsafe, whatever that is. Once again, envision it. What does that feel like for you? So energy cords are attached at different locations in our body. And a lot of times let's say that you have a relationship cord with someone, because you ever wonder why you're like, how come I had a great relationship with this person and now it's not anymore? So traumas, emotional things, physical things, all kinds of stuff can make your energy cord move. And so let's say that I had this like beautiful heart to heart energy cord with someone, and it's this beautiful relationship. We have these communication, and it's just amazing. And then maybe something really traumatizing happens. Maybe we get into a car accident. Maybe the other person has somebody in their family that dies, and it strains the energy cord. And so your energy cords can move to different places in your body, and then they're not quite as whole. And also the colors of them can change. So when I'm working on someone and I'm looking into energy cords, I'm always looking at like, okay, what colors do I see in this energy cord? And can I adjust the color vibration to make this a better match? Or do I always ask someone, hey, because people know, right? They'll come to me and say, I'm having an energy cord issue with my mom or my friend or whatever. The first question I'm going to ask you is, do you want to keep this relationship? Because if you're like, no, we're just going to dissolve it. And so I had an empathy cord, and I cut it off. I'm burning it. And so it is. And there you go. And so as I do this with myself and I let it resonate, I'm literally envisioning this cord just being completely on fire. I like fire. So it works out really well for me to burn this cord and have it just basically disintegrate into nothingness. All right. So that kind of brings me into some topics of what we're going to talk about. And that is, I have 3 things, as you know, because I love to do sets of 3s. So things are not always as our cognitive mind plays them out to be. In fact, very rarely is our cognitive mind actually correct in what the heck it's telling us. And so it's really easy to get into a messy space because you basically have your cognitive mind thinking one thing and your subconscious is aligning with something else, and they're almost like fighting each other. And that's very exhausting. So here's a couple of examples I'm going to give you from my own little enlightenings. Number 1, connections with people. Sometimes you meet a person and the connection that you have with them or the reason that you've met with them does not become completely apparent. And so I had this happen where I realized this about 3-ish months ago. I had a connection with someone that cut my hair, and I think it was almost maybe 2 years ago, maybe even longer. But I always kept this like connection with her. Energetically, I could feel it, and I would watch her do things on Facebook and whatever. And then it became incredibly apparent to me one day where I was like, whoa, this is the connection that I have to her and why it is. And it led me to something completely different. And one day I will share this beautiful story with you and you're going to be blown away. But it really is all about allowing yourself to feel, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, and allowing things to just flow instead of trying to figure everything out. Okay. Next, disappearing keys. I've been losing keys for the past 2 months, like nobody's business. Now, if you ask my kids, they will tell you, mom just loses stuff. That's just what she does. And I would say that is actually probably a true statement. But for the most part, it's not always some same thing like over and over again. And so I have a key and it just disintegrates. It disappears. Even if I know that I'm placing it in the same spot that I always do. So I have lost a key to a tractor. I've lost a key to a motorcycle. I've lost a bag of keys. And now recently I lost the key to my mailbox. And so I had to stop for a second and be like, wait a minute, I'm not getting it, right? There's something going on with these keys missing. If you're really in tune with your energy, you'll know, especially like with electronics, when you're at a certain vibration, you'll start frying things, right? You'll get on your computer and the freaking thing is going to freeze or it's going to blow up or your phone's going to stop working. And it's just kind of one of those things that you have to align with is what happens. But sometimes you keep getting messages and you keep getting led to spaces because you're not quite grasping it. So in this instance, there was a message with the keys. And so as I sat, I was like, okay, wait. Because first I caught myself doing this where I'm forcing to see, I'm forcing to know. And you can't do that because when you try to force something or do it, you actually create resistance because you're trying too hard to make something happen for yourself. And so you then actually begin resisting what you really want. And so I had to sit with myself and just do the flow that I call it. And I just get into a space of now, which means you really aren't really thinking about anything. It takes a lot of practice. I'm actually going to do a course on this, but you get into a space where you're in the now. You're not thinking about anything. It allows your subconscious to really engage, and then things start to appear for you. It's really an amazing process. But so I got into this now space, and when you really get good at this, you can go into the now space where you're not actually thinking about anything. And this is how you bring things from quantum energy to yourself, is you then purposefully find some emotion that is high resonating, like gratitude. And then you get yourself into that space and you can actually pull in energy for exactly what you want to have happen. That's kind of more on like the master's degree, maybe PhD level of this. But anyway, I'm just telling you, going into this now space, I was like, what is up with these keys? And I got it. It was, you need to be looking for something. And it's actually not the keys. So I stopped looking for the keys and I started paying attention to where I felt directed. And it directed me to a specific drawer that I had. And there was some things in this specific drawer that I needed to, welcome to fall, because we have the farm flies going on. There were some things in this drawer that I specifically needed to take care of that I otherwise wouldn't have recognized. And it all came down to, where did I feel directed to be looking for the keys? Now, the other reason too is because this is actually the space where I keep all of my keys. So interestingly enough, there was a connection to the keys with the drawer, but why would I be looking in the drawer where the keys are supposed to be and they're obviously not there, because I would be able to see them, right? So there's lots of connections, but you have to really let yourself flow into this space. Okay, here's the next one I'm going to do for you. That's the third one. Cognitively getting into this place where don't do things how you're supposed to. And I want you to think about that for a second. Don't do things how you're supposed to do them. So I don't do anything that I am supposed to do when other people are watching me. I am a very non-traditional mom. If you are an outsider looking in, you will be blown away if you hang out with me and my older children and I. It's a very interesting dynamic, and I could be criticized to no end, but it works beautifully for us. And when it comes down to it, my children are very respectful of me and will do anything for me. They're not going to admit that to you, but it is. But It's not a traditional relationship. As a partner, I'm not a traditional person. And as far as I don't do things the way that things are supposed to be done. And so, I had someone say the other day, well, doesn't that bother you that this is how this is happening? And I was like, no, it doesn't, because I'm not a traditional person like that. So I don't need to be in this traditional space where I have this expectation of the person that I'm with or that I'm dating or whatever, because I resonate with what feels right to me in that space. And this person was like, if that was me, it would be driving me crazy to be having this happen. And I was like, I know, but that's the thing, right? It makes it so that I'm in my authentic space. So I don't have to question whether or not this is the right relationship or the right person for me, because, I'm living my authentic self. Like, there is no being something I'm not, or trying to fit into something I'm not, or being in a relationship out of an emotional desperation or what have you. So I don't do things that I'm supposed to do. I jump on beds. When I go to a hotel room, the first thing that I do when I get in there is I jump on the bed. I'm like, whatever. I'm 42 years old, so whatevs. I'm actually almost 43. That's right. But I'm aging backwards. Why? Because I choose to. Guess what? Age is simply something in your head that your cognitive mind wraps your head around. So if you have it in your head that you get old at a certain age, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to start aging. So don't. Like, I have it in my head that, and you can push it out, whatever. I have it in my head that I won't be old until I'm like 97. And you know what? I compare myself to my grandmother. She was a firecracker up until the moment that she just, it was her time. I don't need to get old. There's no purpose for it. I allow myself to age knowledgeably, in a knowledge sense, because I want to learn, right? But as far as like the physical aging thing, nah, it's not for me. So I'm not aligned with it. And you can go, actually, I ran across a picture the other day. It had to have been, I don't know, man. It had to have been maybe 10 years old. And I looked at it, and even myself, I was like, dang, I look younger now than I did then. And it's just it's all a mindset. Okay. So do whatever. I like to call it whatevs. Just do whatevs. Don't follow what everybody needs. You don't need to age. Who needs to age? That's lame, right? Okay. So I'm going to leave you with this, you guys. Flow. I know that is a really weird word, but it's like the simplest thing that I can tell you. Stop trying so hard to make things happen. I'm literally going to get out my concealed carry and shoot this fly right in the face. Am I allowed to say that? Yes. Okay. Anyway, don't try to make things happen. Let things flow, because I have to make this happen, or I have to find a solution, or I have to blah, blah, blah. It's a vibration killer. And guess what? So, as someone with an obsessive compulsive tendency who grew up measuring their shampoo, because I didn't want to use too much, but I had to have enough, but I didn't want to waste. Like, I have some serious compulsive tendencies. I get it. I get that desire and that need and that drive to have to figure stuff out. I used to be the type of person that I thought, when I do something, I have to think through every single possibility, because then what happens? I feel safe, right? I feel safe if I know every potential possible thing that can happen. I will be prepared. What a waste of energy, because only one of those things, maybe, I might not even imagine the actual outcome. Only one of those things is actually going to happen. And the rest of it, I just wasted my energy on trying to figure it out. You don't have to figure everything out. You let it flow. More has happened for me in a space when I stopped trying to control everything and I just live my authentic self and I just let things come. It's a crazy, crazy miracle thing that happens when you do that. I like to call it miracle manifesting. I don't have to worry about making decisions anymore because it just happens. It's there. I attract it instead of making it. Okay. There you go. Right, Jan? For real. You get old when you stop believing in magic and playing. Absolutely. If we all continued playing in the sandbox as adults, we'd be so much happier. All right, there you go. I want you to have a splendid week. Remember, you can hop on over to blockedemotions.com. where you can jump in and grab some of my delicious courses that are pre-recorded so you can watch them as you go. I highly recommend my human design course. If you are into energy and you want to learn to become a practitioner, you can get into my ELF group and purchase my ELF course. And then, of course, I do have limited one-on-one sessions in case you just need to clear some stuff and it's not going for you on your own. Okay, guys, I hope you have a beautiful, wow, thank you, Cole. That actually means a lot to me. I appreciate your comments. Okay, guys, have a beautiful rest of your night. And I will see you. Of course, I'll be posting all over the place, my crazy life, but I'll see you officially next Monday for another Soul Deliciousness.